we started out, we did our little one inch ad in Popular Science. $38 a month was our ad budget. Now, anybody might say, what in the world are you putting your ad in Popular Science for? Popular Science magazine. Number one, didn't have enough money to put it in anything else. And one little inch ad in the back end of Popular Science is $38. So we put the little picture of the heater, Nancy standing next to it. You know, that sells. That does sell. You know, Coke uses it, right? Take a look at that bottle. But we put her next to it, and there was hardly enough room to put into the right-hand side what this was about. But I put it in there, I says, waste oil heater, heat for free, waste oil heater, send $1 for information. Well, if you take a look at the specs on Popular Science at that time had a 7.5 million readership. Okay, I didn't know nothing about market segments and focusing or whatever. All I knew is I had 7.5 million people going to see my ad, or somewhere close to that, for $38. In it goes. I'll tell you, that's the last time we spent any $38 out of our pocket. The money for all of our advertising for the next year and maybe next 2 years came out of that $1 coming back to us for information. Now, back in them days, you could do that. Today, you can't do it. Today, it's got to be free. So one thing leads to another. We're selling heaters by the hundreds. People from Iowa are calling up. What's it cost for the state? $80,000. Indiana, what's it cost for the state? $80,000. Bing, 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 like that. I'm pushing Mr. Kutrib for more product. I need more product. I'm selling the stuff. That went on for about 2.5 years. Pretty soon one day in April of 1979, I get a call from Mr. Kutrib. I'd like to meet with you. Come pick me up. I'll go and pick him up. I thought, what's this meeting about? He looks at me and he says, I'd like to see your financial statements. Well, we were an independent Lenan Enterprises, Inc. And you're asking me for my financial report. Well, like a good German boy that I was raised, this is my manufacturer. I gave him my financials. Okay? I had a meeting with him. I said, what is this? He says, well, you made $70,000 last year. He says, how old are you? I was 33. He says, nobody that old should make that kind of money. Well, okay, Mr. Kutrib, you were raised and bred and educated in Germany. I'm come from a German background. I know how you're thinking. I know that there's no way that we're going to have a relationship together. One thing led to another. This was in July 25th, 1979, a day that will live in infamy. It's 95 degrees outside. We're called north. North is where the factory was. The factory had moved from Janesville up north. We thought we were going up there to see our office and blah, blah, blah. That's when we got our walking papers. There was a 45-minute meeting, 30 minutes touring the plant, 15 minutes sitting down, getting your guts ripped out of you, and you're back on the road heading south with no distributorship, no business. At that time, we had 800 units in the warehouse, $250,000 in debt to the bank, and it's 95 degrees outside. Now, in that 4-hour drive from north back home, Nancy and I go through this crying, the whole death experience, the 4 segments of the death experience, probably 1 hour. But by the time we got home, we had together realized that we're going to be a manufacturer. So I could have taken 2 routes. We could have cashed out, sold the 800 units that we had on the momentum of the company at that time, had been in business for 2.5 years and was now doing $1 million in business, and walked away with about 180 grand in our pocket. You know, not too shabby for a farm kid, right? We decided not to do that. Okay, we had given our life to the Lord. We had given our company to the Lord. We had founded our company on Isaiah 40:31. Those who wait upon the Lord will rise up on the wings of eagles. we'd been tested by the Lord in Malachi 3:10, where he says, give me the tithe and see if I won't return it back to you. Pressed down, shaken together, overflowing. And we tested him on that. One day I wrote the Lord a check, because he says right in Malachi 3:10, prove me. The only time in the Bible tells you that you can prove him, you can test him on this. And to any young business person listening to this, that's here today, because this is being taped for a master DVD that we're going to be doing for our marketplace. If you want to test the Lord on something, test him on that. That's the only one. That's the only thing that he's allowed to test. You're allowed to test him on. We wrote him a check. I said, Lord, I'm going to stand on this, and I actually put the Bible on the floor, and I stood on it, and I said, I am standing on this this word of yours, that if we do this, you will return it back. I can tell you, it's been a long time now, but I can tell you that a return came back to us. Now, I wrote the check out, put it in an envelope, put a stamp on it, and I took it out to the mailbox out in front of our office. And I dropped it in the mailbox. Oh, you can't get your hand back in that mailbox. It's over. It's over. Okay, so as soon as that thing dropped in that mailbox, it was commissioned. It was committed. Sitting on my desk, laying in an envelope, whatever is not being committed, in the mailbox it went. A sizable amount of money for that time. I can tell you that within a short period of time, days, maybe a week at that, we had something happen to us that was phenomenal. So much came into us, so much money came into us on business that it was phenomenal. And it was not in season or anything. It was basically summertime when this happened. So he proved who he was. And I can tell you that we seed, that's called seeding into God's business. He promises that every time you do that. Now, you don't have, after the first time, you find out that he's truthful. After that, you're doing it on faith that he did it, then he'll do it again. So we did that, and every time we seed, it comes back to us more and more and more. What we're doing right here is seeding. Nobody asks you to pay for your lunch. Nancy and I gladly pay for it. Nobody asks for you to contribute anything. We will gladly do that. Why? Because I know God. I know that he is truthful and honest to his word. So we get home, we're out of business, we're in debt up to our eyebrows. Never realized that 800 waste oil heaters in a warehouse and $250,000 in debt is really a blessing from God, because we had 800 units to sell. Now the bank got a little nervous when they found out that we were out of our distributorship, and they're counting stuff, and all of a sudden the pressure starts. But thank God it's towards season. We're about 60 days away from our season. We sold all 800 of those units by December 31 of that year, while we developed our own product. In 21 days from the time we had gotten our distribution cut off from us, in 21 days we were plugging machinery in, and we were a manufacturer. And from that point on, we just grew, as you can see. 1979, it's just a little bit of growth here, but all of a sudden it's skyrocketing. First year was 100% growth. From tears in the car to tears of joy at the top of the mountain, and a view that's unreal.